Bill, who's in studio now. Tino, thanks very much for joining us. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Peter.
So this is a situation that you've been watching since before the elections, and then the results came in, they were disputed, and now we're a few months down the line and this fuel hike and people get onto the streets. And some people might say, is it just about the fuel?
Well, to answer you in that question, this is not just about the fuel. People are angry that we have got a regime which does not tolerate a different or an opposing view. So it's a time bomb since I think about 2016, when the government mooted the idea of bringing on board the bond note. There are sensible people among the government of Robert Mugabe, then like the likes of Dr. Walter Mzembe, who said, no, let's not go the bond note route. We must rather go to the Rand Monetary Union. At least in the Rand Monetary Union, we'll be able to pay our workers, and we do quite a lot of trade with South Africa. But that was not allowed. He was, he was hounded for such statements because they preferred to have the bond note in circulation. Why does the government of Zimbabwe prefer a bond note over a proper currency like the rand or the pula? Because where there is chaos, that is where they can loot. It is common cause and it is common sense that the chiefs of ZANU-PF, the political figureheads, they cannot survive in a normal society. They cannot run businesses. They survive on theft and plunder of natural resources. So where there is that kind of scenario and chaos, that's how they survive. You will understand it's quite unfortunate that we've got a head of state, a whole head of state for that matter, who goes out on TV and says that the price of petrol is now $3, and that Zimbabweans who are resident in Zimbabwe cannot buy it for $1.24. It can only be bought for $1.24 by diplomatic missions, by tourists. So he's literally saying to the people of Zimbabwe that you do not really matter. The people that matter are probably foreigners in his context. So that is quite dangerous. This is the culmination of anger that has built up over the years. And they are thinking that by probably suppressing the views of people and beating and killing people, probably they will be able to quell it. I don't think so. The people of Zimbabwe are tired. They have been under this kind of bondage for the past 38 years.
All right, so we've seen protests before in the country. Is there anything different about this one from your perspective?
Yes, the protests in Zimbabwe are getting more and more violent. You remember just after the election, on the 1st of August, people went up and down, tearing billboards, burning, all sorts of violence. This is a sign of the people that are no longer willing to negotiate. It's a sign of people that are now frustrated, that are clutching at straws, at least to make sure that they provide maximum harm on the government. And the funny part of it all is that, in Zimbabwe, there are no civilians who possess guns. The only people that possess guns are properly those that are linked to ZANU-PF. And they've got this tendency to fire those guns at protesters and also all sorts of that of actions, which is quite worrying. And at the end of the day, it is the people of Zimbabwe that continue to suffer. And unfortunately, we have got a president who does not listen. By the way, he is in Russia, they say. He's going there, they say that he's going to seal up some businesses. But until when, you cannot behave like a school child or those small kids who go and ring an intercom and then run away. That's what he literally did. He lit a fire and he ran away from the country. Now he's in Russia. And the people are suffering. The soldiers are on the streets beating up every Tom and Dick to make sure that there is no shutdown. But we are saying as the people of Zimbabwe, we are issuing fresh instructions, further instructions to say the shutdown must continue. It has been touted, it had been said it would be going to go on for 3 days. Now we are saying it will be going on indefinitely until the government of Zimbabwe comes back to its senses and listens to the demand of the people. We are tired and we are fed up.
So do you think that the president will come back and solve this issue?
The biggest dilemma is we do not know whether Mr. Mnangagwa is in charge of the country or not. You will remember that during the Commission of Inquiry, there were letters that were produced between the Minister of Defense and the Minister of Police and the commanders of police and the commanders of the army that said the president had okayed the deployment of the army. That now shows when you don't have a letter that comes from the president going to the Minister of Defense saying that there should be a deployment. It means that there is somebody who claims that the president is deployed when there is no trace to it. Now we have got a situation where the constitution of Zimbabwe says that the acting president cannot deploy the army without probably the cabinet and or without in the absence of the proper president. But we saw soldiers on the street, and they continue to be there right now as we speak. They are going door to door, knocking at people's houses and taking out anything that looks like a man who is under the age of 50. They are being beaten up just because they are males.
What do you make of the burning of the headquarters of the MDC Harvest House? Who could be behind that, and what's the message meant to be?
The biggest thing here, the one that we should take home, what we should actually take notice of is ZANU-PF is the one that is capable of burning anything in Zimbabwe. They are the ones that have got the machinery, they are the ones that have got the ammunition, and they are the ones that can evade justice. So to anybody's imagination, I would want to conclude without prejudicing anybody that this is an act of violence from ZANU-PF. ZANU-PF itself, they used to thrive on getting fuel coupons and all that, but now at the moment ZANU-PF cannot get fuel as well. They are fed up, and you will remember that as of yesterday there were soldiers that were reported to have gone into schools and beating up teachers to tell teachers that they should go back home. So there is a lot of things that are happening around this area that probably are not being reported. It could be that the ZANU-PF, certain elements are fed up, and they want to make sure that they inflict as much damage as they can on the person of President Mnangagwa. And unfortunately, he plays to the garage and is not in the country.
All right, Tino Mambewu, we're going to have to leave it there, but thanks very much indeed for sharing your thoughts with us on a situation that continues to be tense and unfolding, and we just hope that it ends peacefully. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
All right, that was activist Tino Mambewu talking to us about the situation in Zimbabwe. The streets in Bulawayo and Harare in particular seem to be quiet as the authorities have continued their clampdown, and soldiers have now been deployed to maintain peace. But everybody is indoors and trying to stay away from any trouble at the moment. And of course, the other story is what's happening in Nairobi in Kenya. We'll have more details on that for you in a short while, as well as the business with Colin. Stay with us.